Have you ever been fascinated by space exploration?
Well, in this video, I'll tell you how the US and the USSR sparked the exceptional space innovations that have shaped our lives today.
Although space travel is something rather complex, this video will tell you everything you need to know. But let's start at the very beginning of man going into space, the space race, which was just a competitive space technology show-off between the USA and the USSR. The space race started in 1955. For the first 2 years of the space race, not much had been happening. Of course, the US and the USSR had been thinking about brilliant plans, but no one really knew about them. No one really knew about the space race until 4th October 1957.
That was the day that the USSR launched the first Earth-orbiting satellite, Sputnik 1, to study the Earth's upper atmosphere, which I actually didn't even know existed until about a month ago. This was the first step in creation of satellites that depend on almost every minute of our day for television, phone, weather forecasting, GPS, etc.
Even you can watch this video because of satellites. Well, Sputnik 1 was a great surprise for the US, and of course, not a pleasant one. Just a few months later, the USSR launched Sputnik 2. On board Sputnik 2 was Laika. She was a stray dog and she went to orbit for 4 days.
Sadly, she died because the cabin overheated.
Well, the US finally caught up with the USSR by launching Explorer 1. It was the first US satellite to reach orbit, but at that point, no one believed that the US could win the race.
And then the USSR successfully launched Luna 2, the first spacecraft to reach the surface of the moon.
And before anyone had any time to celebrate, blowing everyone's mind, the USSR launched Vostok 1 on 12th April 1961. Aboard the Vostok 1 was Yuri Gagarin. He was the first man in space. And when he returned to Earth, he was recognized as a national hero. I am not surprised. However, less than a month later, the US managed to send the first American in space, Alan Shepard, who aboard the Mercury Redstone 3 on 5th May 1961. But it was no big deal, as the USSR had already done that.
And then the US thought out of the box. They sent Mariner 4.
It was the first spacecraft to planet Mars. It even took the first close-up pictures of Mars. But it was still no big deal. 20th July 1969 was the day that changed how everyone thought of the US.
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first men to walk on the moon. This was such a massive deal that 723 million people watched this live.
And finally, on 15 July 1975, the space race ended when commanders Tom Stafford and Alexei Leonov exchanged the first international handshake that symbolized the end of the space race.
Just before the space race ended, the USSR built the out of the ordinary, the first space station on 1st August 1971.
This is now part of an amazing innovation, the International Space Station.
To conclude, both the US and the USSR effectively won the space race
by thinking out of the box and not just blindly copying each other. They gave us this quality of life. Could you imagine our world today without satellites? No television, no GPS, no phones.
My mom can't even go to the supermarket without a GPS.
I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. You like, you subscribe, and I will see you next time.